Duke wins 27-20 in overtime. Incredible cinema, so to speak, for this football game's ending. Thought the game largely was fairly boring. 2 turnovers for Virginia, 1 for Duke. Duke was able to manage that. That was the key. We talked about it. Darian Mensah, he throws an interception, relatively, I think, early in the game. Just kind of remember kind of watching it, and it felt like it was still early. But they didn't do anything to really hurt themselves beyond that. They ran the football well. They rushed it 137 yards, 128 to UVA. They owned the time of possession. I thought Johnny Brewer, the offensive coordinator at Duke, did a really nice job of knowing when to push the pace, also knowing when to eat the clock. And I think Manny Diaz, I think that was kind of what their game plan was, what they wanted to do is grind down this Virginia defense, and they were able to do that. And I feel for Chandler Morris, throws 2 interceptions. One of them, kind of critical area where you're kind of backed up, and that gives Duke life, and they were able to take advantage of it. But when you look at this game as a whole, you've got to give Virginia credit. They never quit. They never stopped fighting. But man, this was. I picked Virginia to win, and I picked Virginia to win comfortably because I thought Duke, over the course of their season, had shown what they are, which is just kind of unable to beat some of the good teams on their schedule. At the same time, Virginia, and I should have given more credit to this piece of it, Virginia is a team that played with fire all season long. And I've said it on this podcast. I talked about it. It was why I didn't have Virginia in the conference championship game and making it there for a large part. And they needed, no help to get in like a Duke did, but they were able to take advantage just enough of the schedule they played. And we can look back on UVA's schedule and you go Florida State 1 possession game, Louisville 1 possession game overtime, Washington State 1 possession game, needed a safety to win, North Carolina overtime, Cal late interception pick 6 gives them a double-digit win. That was a 1 possession game. Wake Forest 1 possession game. Duke and then Virginia Tech, those 2 games back-to-back to end the season were the only points of the season where Virginia really flexed. They really, since September, they had beaten Stanford comfortably, but they lost to NC State at the same time. And they closed to get to Charlotte. But their overall schedule didn't necessarily give them this huge, incredible test like Duke did. Duke faced Illinois. Duke faced Tulane, who's in the college football playoff. Duke faced UConn as well. Really strong independent program with Jim Moore Jr. getting hired away to be the Colorado State coach. Duke also faced Georgia Tech, and they were able to not win that game either. And, of course, they lost to Virginia in the regular season. But Manny Diaz and that Duke staff learned a lot. I think they learned that Darian Mensah, when you put it all on his plate, is a very good quarterback, but he needs the right amount on his plate to be successful. And him managing this game so well, even that one interception was just one of 6 incompletions that he had on the day. I think interceptions are counted as incompletions. I know they are, but it sometimes is weird to talk about it like that. But 19 of 25 for he finished 196 yards, 2 touchdowns on the day. Really strong performance from him. That's why Duke paid up. Now they need to get that from him at a high level throughout the season, and not put all that on his plate. But their game was really, really interesting from a play-by-play perspective, and from following it and watching Duke go right down the field, 15 plays, 75 yards on the opening drive to score a touchdown and take a 7-0 lead. You had Virginia miss a field goal on the next drive. I thought, okay, when they were lining up for that field goal, I thought, all right, well, they're going to kind of settle in here, and this will kind of calm everybody down if they can get points on the board. Wrong. in a sense. I mean, or excuse me, not wrong. The UVA defense was able to step up after the missed field goal and get an interception off Darian Mensah. That's how they tied the game 7-7. And you're like, okay, this is where Virginia's going to race away with it. But that wasn't the case. It was Duke that kind of put their foot on the gas a little bit and built a really, really good situation for them going into the fourth quarter. You know, they were up 17-10, and I thought once that kind of got to that point, I was really starting to feel like this game was going to get grinded down by this Duke offense. And they were able to kind of do that in a sense. They just ate a lot of clock. And even though they weren't doing all sorts of, really impressive things with the ball or, getting a touchdown or what have you, they were kind of chewing enough clock to make you feel pretty good about it. But again, Virginia just had enough magic to make things happen and tie the game late. Virginia turned it over on downs with about 10 minutes to go in the fourth quarter, and they were down 17-10. Duke then took 5:28 off the clock, going just 28 yards, ended up punting. Then Chandler Morris throws that interception. You say, okay, that is it. It's curtains. It's a 20-10 lead in about probably 6 minutes to go in the fourth quarter, 5 minutes to go in the fourth quarter, and they were really able to battle back. And despite being down 20-10, they get a drive. The drive stalled. I forget if it was in the red zone for UVA or what, but watching that drive and that just again, Chandler Morris got pressured, throws it, couldn't complete it over there in the end zone, and then they kick the field goal. And I said, okay, well, they're going to have a chance to get a stop and get the ball back, but I just didn't think it was going to be a lot of time. And Tony Elliott managed it really well. Duke just couldn't get through, and break through and pick up a first down that they needed to put the game on ice. They punted away, and UVA goes 10 plays, 96 yards. Just incredible. Really just tremendous drive there. 18-yard touchdown pass from Chandler Morris to get that game tied. And man, Eli Wood was on the verge of being, statue celebrity status in Charlottesville to tie the game, send it to overtime, and Duke goes right down the field. And I wonder, and I, truthfully should have texted Johnny Brewer this and asked him, but they committed to the run in overtime. Duke ran the ball 11 yards, 6 yards, 7 yards, 0 yards. Then they finally throw it, and even the announcers say, well, interesting move to get away from the run there. Then they go 0, they get stuffed, and then a touchdown pass to Halsley on an incredible scramble. Just Darian Mensah keeping his eyes downfield, was able to find his safety valve, kind of his last option, and get the touchdown. And then Chandler Morris throws the interception the next drive on the opening play to end it. And I feel for Chandler Morris, known him a long time and his family, but Duke went out there and took it. And I got to spend a little bit of time with Manny Diaz at ACC Media Days, and I just haven't spent time with Tony Elliott, so I don't know him as well. But what a stand-up, just class act type of guy that Manny Diaz is. And I think he understands today's day and age of college football really well. He understands the players. He understands the all the different things in their life that they have to deal with right now, from still going to class, dealing with NIL, dealing with, egos and managing practice and depth charts and all of those things. And he just does it the right way. And Duke's season has not been what they wanted it to be. With the expectations around Darian Mensah, they don't win one of their power conference, non-conference games. They kind of backdoor their way into the ACC Championship game with a little help from his buddy Rhett Lashley and SMU. And they go out there and they take it. And it's kind of funny. I was thinking about this. I didn't tweet it I just didn't want to, have the mentions blow up. But Rhett Lashley last year, Manny Diaz this year, two former Miami coaches, whether it be coordinator or head coach, getting to the ACC Championship in the last 2 years since leaving Coral Gables. Just a really interesting piece there that Miami fans were probably at the time stewing on. Now they're not worrying about it as much that they're in the college football playoff. But Manny Diaz is just such a great guy, and for them to get this done, congratulations to them. They earned it. They went out there and absolutely took it from Virginia, and that's what you've got to do in games like this. It's where last year's game that absolutely delivered on many, many levels. It's where last year's game for SMU, they didn't take it from Clemson. They got back, they came back, they made it a game, but they were not able to finish the job. And you've got to do that, and you've got to find different ways to make it to that point of your game and your championship push where you have to close it and take it from the other team sometimes. And Virginia had been, throughout the season, they had been the top team in the ACC. That's where they had been. And so Duke had to go out there and take it from them as, the underdog, kind of the team that was challenging and trying to stir it up and ruin the ACC as far as the college football playoff goes. They had all of that, kind of pitted against them. Well, they went out there and they took it. And so kudos to them for doing that. They played a great brand of defense that really stifled Virginia for 90% of the game. And, that really stood out to me as just how ready Manny Diaz had that defense ready to go, pushing and creating pressure on Chandler Morris. They just did a great job. So you got to give them a lot of credit for how they played and how they were ready to go from the start, and going down there and scripting a great opening drive to go up 7-0 and then take advantage of that start, and kind of it felt like Duke played from ahead the entire time, even though UVA ended up tying the game. So at 7, and then Duke pulled away. So a really interesting competitive ACC championship game